In a world where we have more streaming services than we could possibly ever watch, something really strange is happening. An old enemy is making this massive comeback. And no, it's not a new streaming platform, it's digital piracy. And in 2025, it isn't just surviving, it's absolutely winning. To really get your head around the scale of this, just look at this number, 216.3 billion. That's the number of visits to piracy websites around the world in just 1 year. That is a staggering number. This is not some tiny niche thing anymore. So that brings us to the big question, right? The one we're really digging into today. With all these legal options, Netflix, Disney Plus, you name it, why on earth are so many people deciding to hoist the digital Jolly Roger? All right, let's get into it. The first thing you've got to understand is that this battle, it's not new at all. It's a cycle we've seen again and again and again. Every time a new piece of tech makes it easier to share stuff, the industry panics. Seriously, the player piano was seen as this huge threat to sheet music. The VCR was called, and I'm not making this up, the Boston Strangler of the film industry. And we all remember Napster. What's happening right now is just the next chapter in a very old book. So what makes this time so different? Well, the irony here is just perfect. It seems like the industry itself basically lit the match. The so-called streaming wars, which were supposed to be this amazing new era for us, have totally backfired. And in doing so, they've created the perfect conditions for piracy to come roaring back. Do you remember the original promise of streaming? It was so simple, right? One place, one subscription, everything you want to watch. Well, that dream is completely shattered. What used to be one kingdom is now broken up into more than 90 different services. All these little walled gardens. Now, if you want to watch your favorite shows, you got to navigate this incredibly frustrating maze of exclusive content. And this is what it costs to get through that maze. Just look at this jump. In only 5 years, the average monthly bill for a handful of services has almost doubled. There's even a name for it, streamflation, and it is hitting everybody's wallet hard. And this isn't just some vague trend. I mean, look at the table. These are real price hikes year after year from the biggest names in the game. It's this constant squeeze that leads to what people are calling subscription fatigue, that feeling of just being totally overwhelmed and, frankly, overcharged for a bunch of services you can't even keep straight anymore. So you're paying more, but at least the experience is getting better, right? Nope, not at all. Intrusive, obnoxiously loud ads are back. The user interfaces are getting clunky and confusing. And get this, your favorite shows can literally just disappear. Poof, gone, like when Disney just yanked its own show, Willow, right off the platform. Add in the big password sharing crackdown, and you've got a recipe for making your customers really, really unhappy. So all of this frustration and rising cost has created this huge vacuum. And piracy is just rushing in to fill it. Because here's the kicker. It's not just winning because it's free. It's winning because, for a lot of people, it's become a genuinely better product. This table pretty much lays it all out. When you put legal streaming and piracy side by side on the things that actually matter to us, the results are kind of shocking. Cost, high and going up, versus free. Library, broken into a million pieces, versus everything in one place. Quality, often compressed, versus the highest possible. Ads, everywhere now, versus none. And maybe the biggest one of all, permanence. A show can vanish from Netflix tomorrow. A file you've downloaded, that's yours forever. There's this quote from an industry analyst that just nails it. Piracy platforms have become the de facto universal content aggregators that the legal market has failed to create. In other words, piracy's winning because it's solving the very problems the legal market created. It's giving people the simple, all-in-one experience they actually wanted from the start. I mean, just look at the difference in the user experience. On the left, trying to watch something legally turns you into a detective. Which service has it? Am I subscribed? Is it even available in my country? On the right, the illegal journey is simple. Open one site, search for what you want, and click play. The convenience isn't even comparable. So how does this whole illicit ecosystem actually work so well? It's easy to think of it as just some random thing, but it's not. Let's pull back the curtain and take a look at the surprisingly sophisticated machine that is modern piracy. So it all starts in this place that most of us have never even heard of. It's called the wares scene. And as it says here, this is not a business. It's an underground subculture, a competition. You have these groups that are racing each other to be the first to crack and release new stuff. And they're not doing it for money. They're doing it for reputation, for bragging rights. They are the engine that drives this whole thing. Okay, so from that scene, the content flows down this incredibly well-oiled supply chain. Step 1, they get the source, maybe from a streaming service or a Blu-ray. Step 2, the scene works its magic. They crack it, package it, all according to their own super strict rules. And then step 3, it's released out into the wild, spreading like wildfire from private servers to the public sites we all know about. And you can forget those old stereotypes of someone filming a movie screen with a shaky camcorder. The modern scene is all about quality, and they have this whole system for it. When you see a tag like BD-RIP or WebDL, that means they have a perfect, pristine digital copy, ripped directly from the source. And get this, it's often at a higher bitrate and quality than the compressed stream you'd pay for. So, where does all this leave us? Well, the future looks pretty uncertain. This huge comeback for piracy isn't just a headache for some Hollywood executives. It has real, tangible consequences for everybody, including the people who are doing the pirating. For the streaming industry, this is basically an existential crisis. The whole value of subscription is eroding right before their eyes. The business model just isn't working, and we're probably going to see a bunch of these services either die off or get bought up. And the biggest irony of all, after spending billions to kill cable TV, they're now being forced to rebundle everything, basically recreating the expensive cable model they told us they were saving us from. But before anyone thinks this is some victimless activity, I want you to look at this number, 65x. That's how much more likely you are to encounter malware on a piracy site compared to a legal one. Suddenly that free movie comes with a potentially very, very high price. So let's actually break down those hidden costs. First, the cybersecurity risks are huge. We're talking malware, ransomware, phishing, the whole deal. Second, your privacy is basically gone. You're being watched by both the illegal sites themselves and by the anti-piracy firms hunting them. And finally, there's the broader impact. You know, one download might not feel like a big deal, but when you multiply it by billions, that's real lost revenue for the writers, actors, and crew members who actually make the stuff we love. All of which brings us to a final, really provocative question. In a world where any digital file can be copied perfectly, infinitely, at zero cost, is our entire idea of owning digital media just obsolete? The current system is clearly failing. It's frustrating for consumers, and it's not working for creators. So maybe the problem isn't just the pirates. Maybe the problem is that we're trying to apply old world rules of ownership to a digital world where they just don't